Welcome back to another episode of Thinking That Matters. I'm Elizabeth Mahusay, your podcast host, and I am so excited to have Jason Valleau on the show. And there's so much I want to say about you, but I'll let you go first. So tell us who you are, what you do, and then we will launch in.
Okay, I'm Jason Valleau. I'm the owner of O'Hale Contracting, or Contractors, I should say. And been doing that for about 13 and a half years in the roofing and storm restoration world. And then I'm also the owner and creator of Goodness Steak Seasoning. And that's been for sale since 21. Something I created, in 2013. But, it's a fun thing and I enjoy it and hope to, really get it launched so it can really, do more than just me selling that out of my truck.
Well, the seasoning is amazing. Okay, so I have to know, you said that you created the seasoning in 2013. Mm-hmm. What got you passionate about mixing seasoning?
Well, from a very young age, I learned how to cook with my mom. I have an older brother, and we were hungry. And we were going in the kitchen going, Mom, what's it? It's like, when's dinner? And she goes, well, if you stir this pot, it'll go faster. And so from that point on, I've enjoyed being in the kitchen. And so, I've eaten, lots of food in my day, and I like good food, tasty food. Mm-hmm. And, just one night, 2013, steak night for the family, I thought, I want something different. Salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic's always been great. But I've had that at high-end,
right,
5-star restaurants. Tastes the same. It's like, it wasn't all that. And so I did. I got out some barbecue rub books and just, experience. Kind of looked at some recipes and went, no, that sounds horrible. It's like, oh, that ingredient sounds bad, but that one sounds good. And so I gathered up, about 9 different, spices and put it all together that first night. Rubbed it on the steaks, and it was a hit with the family. They just thought that was the best thing ever. And so just for steak night for the family, that's where
it started.
Yeah, mix up your stuff. And it's like, okay.
So what changed between 2013 and 21 when you actually? Because obviously you started selling it in 21, but it's not like you just all of a sudden started selling it, right? You had to go through and really think about, how do I bring this to the market? Tell me a little bit about that experience, like what brought you to that point?
The thought of, being able to sell it came from doing some steak cook-off competitions. There's actually
interesting. Okay.
SCA, I think it's .org, but Steak Cook-Off Association. They have steak cook-offs at different places. And I went out and participated in a couple of them, never placed, didn't win. It was kind of disheartening to a certain degree. But what made me know that, wow, this is really good, is that I seasoned up some skirt steak and cooked that and allowed, people that are at the festival, whatever else, to come by and just get a sample. One weekend of 500-600 people saying, oh my gosh, that's really good. Man, hey, come here, you got to try this. This is really good. And then even one of the Steak Cook-Off Association's administrators, like they were day one with this. He tried a piece of it and he goes, this is probably one of the best steaks I've ever had. He goes, well, where are you at? When do you turn in? I was like, I didn't even make top 30. And he goes, oh my gosh. He goes, this should be winning every week. He goes, this tastes phenomenal. And that's someone who's tasted a lot of steaks in his days. So that let me know, okay, I really have something here. I really do. And so that began a thought process. Because this is like 2015, 16, 17.
Okay.
Right in there is, when I did the cook-offs. And so it's just in my head of like, okay, yeah, it's good. I know people like it. Could I turn this into a business? Mm-hmm. And then Christmas of 2020, like I already had other people try it. Did networking things, and it's like, hey, Jason, you season the steaks and cook them, and somebody else will bring them, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people, oh my gosh, this is really people
really
that are like, well, I really don't like beef. I'm like, okay, just give it a shot. If you don't like it, go cook some chicken for you. Whatever.
Yeah.
getting that kind of feedback from people that I was close personal relationship with. I don't know how I know this, but I know this. I can talk to somebody and I could say, oh, they're being so insincere. Like, you just know it. But when people are being sincere, you can hear it. You can see it in their eyes. And I'm like, wow, they really mean that. They're not just patting me on the head. Like, this is like, wow, like they like this. I'm like, okay. So Christmas of 2020, I mixed up what is now Goodness Steak Seasoning. Mixed up that, put it in a nice little tin with a bow on it, little directions on how to cook their steak.
How to use it, yes.
How to use it. And, gave it away, I don't know, probably like 48 people, something like that. So I get like clients as well as, friends and family, whatever.
Then they started, I have to imagine they started asking you for it.
Yes. They said, like, if you don't start selling this, you're nuts. He goes, this stuff's great. And it's really one of my good friends, Keith, he looked me in the eye and said, you've got to start selling this. Like, it's phenomenal. And this guy likes to cook. Like, he is the cook for his family. And so, like, okay, all right. And so that's what really kicked it off. Like, okay, how do I make this happen?
So you obviously had to, you had the recipe, but, to be able to sell, is because it's considered a food item, correct? So to be able to sell a food item, you have to meet certain standards. You have to have certain things that are important for it to go to market.
Correct.
So what did you do to learn all of that?
Well, I looked up, through, I got to think what the name of it is now, the Texas Ag website.
Okay.
Because they're in charge of home-based, food businesses. Like that. And I looked it up, and there's like cottage industry kind of things. So you look up that and say, this is,
where am I in the midst of that?
Where am I in the midst of that? And I could mix up so much at home, different things. But once you got to a certain level of what you're selling, they're like, you can't make it at home anymore.
It's got to be more an industrial, an industrial kitchen or facility.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And so I looked that up and I was like, okay. So I did. I went ahead and, got with a friend of mine. She's a great cook. And I said, I needed help understanding how to double, triple, quadruple the recipe and have it still taste right. So she helped me out with that, which was really good. And started mixing it up at home, selling it, boom, 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 super good. But I knew how much time I was spending. This is more of a time aspect more than just food safety thing. I was like, I'm spending a lot of time.
Well, because your primary, at that time, your primary business was and really still is roofing and construction, that type of thing.
Exactly.
So we're small business owners, right? Entrepreneurs, like, if you're not working, you're not eating. You got to be able to buy the food to put the seasoning on is what I'm saying. So
exactly. And so, I went to the spice company.
Okay.
It's a company in Dallas, very well known. That's where I was buying all my individual, items before I'd mix them up at home. I went to them and I said, do you know anybody that'll mix and bottle this for me? They're like, oh, we do that. It's like,
yes.
It's like, let's do this thing. So signed an NDA with them, gave them the recipe. They said, okay, yeah, let's, we'll make you up a test bottle. Okay. Brought it back and I was like, yeah, that's it. 100%. That's it. And I was like, okay, well, let's just go to town. So whenever I need to place an order, I call them and say, I need X amount of bottles, and they make it up, and I pay for it and pick it up, and ready to go at that point.
I love it. I remember you telling me because we were working together at the time, and you were telling me about the spice. What's it called?
Goodness Steak Seasoning.
No, the place that's doing the bottling.
Pendry's.
Pendry's, that's it. And just what a difference it was just to have somebody else bottle it for you. Obviously, you have to have labels, like all the things. Oh, yeah. And, for it to feel more official in that, sense as well.
Because I had to think, okay, because I do want this to go full on retail. Believe me, if I get it in Kroger, H-E-B, all the big players around, awesome. I'd be fine if another company picked it up and it's their little, like it's a little white label kind of
White
thing
label.
for them. You know, I'm still
But
getting
you're
a little
getting the
something.
benefit from it.
That's okay.
Yep.
It's not hurting my feelings. But I knew if I was going to get into retail, I had to get a nutrition label for it. And it was super, super simple. There's a company out of Grand Prairie called AFL. And it's like affiliated food labels, I think
Okay.
it is, but AFL. And I basically sent them the recipe and said, this is what it is. I said, okay. They brought it back and said, okay, what's the serving size?
Yep.
So I gave them the serving size. They brought it back and said, this is what it is. I mean, the nutritional value is in flavor, not in calories. It's
Right.
It's 100%
Well, it's zero
like
calorie. Yeah, it's 0 calories.
Basically a 0 calorie kind of thing. Salt is the only thing that people have to look out for, right? But I was able to get my product label, not product label, but the nutrition label from them. And at that point, I'm like, okay,
You're good to go.
I'm legit, because you get the nutrition label, but then you have to get your UPC codes. And that's a different company. Had to look that up to see who did that. And there's offshoot ones, but you have to be real careful. There's only one that's
gladly
really,
take your money.
Oh yeah. And it's like, well, no, that doesn't work. There is one that the U.S. government, they're not in control of it, but they're very much a part of it. Says this is the one you get. So I've got my UPC labels, for that. And I'm
so
set for big resale.
as you've gone through this process, what would you say have been some of the limiting beliefs that maybe have given you pause, or times where you felt stuck? Like what? Give me some examples of those.
Okay. The first one was the true recipe for goodness steak seasoning is ultimately a wet rub.
Okay.
That's really what it is. What I sell is the dry ingredients part of it, and it's fantastic all by itself. I mean, it's great. But when I first made those steaks in 2013, I added some wet items to it, and in my head, that's what I wanted to take to market.
Okay.
Was that. Okay. Well, then I started looking into it. I mean, it would have been 2 or 3 years to finally get all the testing done, shelf safe, how long it'll last, all these different things. And I went, man, that's going to take too long. The dry seasoning, salt, spices, that's it. I mean, shelf life's like 2 years, 3 years, just by itself.
Mine doesn't last that long, just saying.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want everyone to feel that same way. I love this stuff. So I was like, okay. Then I had to pivot and say, okay, well, I can just do dry. And I talked to Pendry's and I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And they're like, yeah, that's easy. Yeah, we can do that. It's like, awesome. And so that was one. The second is, and I keep hearing it still to this day, man, seasoning market's really hard to break into. It's really hard to break into because you can go to any of your local grocers every week, and I kid you not, you'll see some other brand. You'll see some bigger brands that, I mean, they show up and there's 8 on the shelf, all different flavors, all different types. And I go to the store and I look at that and I go, wow, I've got some work to do, because as goodness steak seasoning is, and you can use it on anything. There's the commercial part. Okay, everybody listen, because it's commercial. It's good on anything. Like, I've created it for steak night for the family, but it's good on chicken and pork and shrimp and fish, vegetables, rim of Bloody Mary with it, whatever. It's screaming good. But now I have to go, oh my gosh, I need to make like a chicken version. I need to make I am not a chef. Okay. I have zero training. I worked at Brahms as a cook for like 3 months. That's all that's cooking
the closest,
training.
Right.
That's the closest thing I got.
You had some of the best training, though, which was alongside your mom in a real kitchen, in a real home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that helped out a bunch. And so that's some things that I am still, I can't say I'm limited in my thinking, because I can think big. I'm limited in that start of like, well, Jason, you have to spend this weekend working on a chicken flavor. You like just, and not being inspired like I was that night.
when you put it together to begin with.
Yeah.
So really is the limiting belief. So I'm just thinking about what you said, that the seasoning market is hard to break into. And so what are you telling yourself to not get stuck in? Because obviously you want it to be fully integrated into the market, which means, I mean, if you keep thinking it's hard to break into it, I mean, the likelihood of doing what you need to do to break into it is very low. Oh, yeah. So what are you doing to keep yourself focused on your end goal?
I would say the biggest focus that I have is the fact that goodness steak seasoning, it took some level of creativity to make it, you know, and it's somebody who just likes food. If you can see all of me, you can tell I like food. But it's realizing that I am a creative person because I have a creative God. Okay? I'm a believer that, you know, God is the maker of heaven and earth. Everything we see in it and what we, you know, can experience in this life is because of his creativity. And we have his, every man, woman, and child has his creativity because he's creative. That's whether how we use it.
What's our expression of it?
Yeah, what's our expression of it? You might see that at somebody that's an engineer. Well, you might see that as someone who's a baker. You might see it as someone who's just fabulous with teaching children because they can think of that one thing that goes, oh, that would get to that kid. You name it. Every human being's creative in some manner.
Yeah.
And so I go back to that and I go, okay, God, you're the one that gave me this. So I'm going to trust you that you're going to build it, make it, and I'm going to be faithful to get the name out there to figure out, okay, what can I do? And that gives me a level of peace or just quiet in my soul of like, if I'm just faithful to get it out there to do the things, then he's going to bring the right people, you know, to me that say, hey, I can help you with this.
Yeah, whether they have the right connections or you're able to get the right introductions.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love how you said that, well, because you said we're creative people. We were made by a creative God. Uh-huh. And so each of us have, you know, that ability of creativity. It's just it's a matter of how it is expressed. Because, you know, I'm married to a photographer. He's incredibly creative with what he does with a camera. And I used to say, well, I'm not creative, right, in that sense. But then I recognized, oh, wait, no, I am creative. I'm just creative in different ways. Correct. And that, I think that's an important piece. I always love when that gets brought up on the show because I think there are so many people who have bought into the lie that they are not creative.
Correct.
And in fact, we are all creative. It's just a matter of the expression of that. Okay. But I like how you connected that to knowing that the Lord is going to ultimately, we'll say, open the doors for goodness steak seasoning. But you said it gives you this internal peace, which I think is so important. That because otherwise in our human minds, we're just scrambling all the time, thinking that we've got to do it all.
Oh, yeah. And I experienced that in life with just people that I know that you hear, oh, I just have so much anxiety. And I'm like, why? Like, tell me why. You know, then they may tell me. And I'll go, well, you know, that's not you. You're worried about something in the future that you have no idea if that's really going to happen or not. Like you're causing yourself to swim, you know, upstream when you're supposed to be just floating down the river. Like, okay, because you know the things that you can control. Well, control those.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, if you start swimming, oh, what this happens? What if that happens? Well, then you deal with it when you get there. You know, I listen to a lot of different podcasts and whatever else, and it's very interesting that people that can deeply think of things, when a situation comes up, they know how to handle it, even though they've never been in that situation before. But you just kind of like ruminate on something. You go, oh, wow, you know, if the house did catch on fire, okay, well, I'd do this and that. Oh, okay. Oh, my gosh, 10 years later, the house catches on fire. How'd you know to do it? Kind of
I've been thinking about that for a while. Yeah.
But it wasn't a worry. It was just
right.
Like, what would be the plan? Like, what do I need to do? Whatever. I took my kids on vacation back in 2019, and we went to southern Utah. See, I didn't realize that it was a high desert kind of thing.
Yes.
It was still hot in July.
Oh my word!
I was not happy about that at all. I thought it'd be nice and
It
cool.
was super hot.
I was like, oh, what am I doing? Okay, but on the way there, because I got 4 kids, as soon as we made it into the state of Utah, pull over the truck, had everybody get out, and I had them, basically with their arms, kind of like YMCA kind of thing, spell out Utah.
Okay, cool.
Right? And they're like, what made you think of that, Dad? I was like, I'm going to Utah. That'd be kind of fun. Just silly stuff. Even.
Yeah.
But it makes a memory.
Yeah,
because the kids bring it up. Oh, Dad, remember the time we went to Utah?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, cool?
Well, all the 4-letter states, it's a little bit easier to do that, depending on how they're spelled.
I have need more children to make to do bigger states. I promise you that.
So I want to do something. Fun with you because we are talking about seasoning, and in transparency for the reader, for the listener and the watcher, like I have been using this since 21. I think that's the first time that I purchased, because I purchased bottles from you as client gifts, and also for myself. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I just sent out a client gift. I think end of last week, he was like, "I got the bottle of steak seasoning. I can't wait to use it." Yeah. And because it came up in a conversation. So something fun. I want us to kind of bat back and forth different ways the seasoning can be used, because it is called Goodness Steak Seasoning. Right. But what I have found in my own kitchen is that it's the word steak can limit someone in their usage of it. So obviously,
I have actually created another label that just says Goodness Seasoning. I just haven't printed them yet.
Okay. I'm with you. Yeah. All right. So obviously we're going to start with steak. So we know it works with steak. All right. Give me, only do one at a time. What's another one?
Burgers.
Ooh, burgers. See, I haven't done it with burgers. That's not true.
With burgers
that's not true. Well, that's because we do the pre-packaged burgers. We don't eat them very often. But I know we do put it on there. I just forget. I know. Okay. So burgers. All right. Mine, obviously chicken. Okay. Yeah. So for example, I get chicken breast. I'll cut them into smaller pieces, but I coat them. So like what I did this past time is I coated it in egg, then with seasoned breading. So Fred gets regular breading. I use a gluten-free coating, but it's a mixture of the seasoning with the breading, and then I air fried it.
Yeah.
So good.
An air fryer, first of all, you get great results, and you're not using nearly as much electricity as if you tried to do that in the oven.
Like in the oven. All right, what's another one?
Another one, turkey.
Yes. Okay. So I am on this high protein diet.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I've been getting Butterball ground turkey from Costco. Yeah. And so a long time ago with ground beef, I stopped using any type of taco seasoning, and I use your seasoning for any, like that's completely taken the place.
Because it does have kind of a Southwestern kind of, feel to it. Yeah.
So I will season the ground turkey with Goodness, and then I'll make quesadillas with it. Yeah. So good. All right, give me another one. All right, was it my turn?
It's your turn.
You did turkey. Yeah. Okay. Salmon.
Oh, yeah.
Love it on salmon. Yes. Oh, it's so yummy on salmon.
Yeah. Pork butt.
Okay.
Like smoking, like if you're going to smoke something. Now, you can do it on, another friend of mine does it on like pork loin chops. They'll grill them. We'll do that. But other friends of mine that, are big into smoking meat, they'll use it on their pork butt. And they'll make it for friends and family. We have people coming over and make a pork butt. And they always come back to me and say, everyone loved that stuff. They were like, man, that's the best pork butt I've ever had. I know.
We don't smoke, but my stepdad smokes. And so I sent him seasoning for when he's using his smoker. Yeah. That's really good. Okay. One of my favorites is chili.
Okay. Yeah.
I am a beans, for those of you who want to get into that argument.
Well, you're from Florida too, so yeah.
Oh, stop it. So it's ground beef, and I use dark kidney, light kidney beans.
Okay, yeah.
And, but I only season it with goodness seasoning. That's the only thing that I put in there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, obviously I have the tomato sauce, all of that.
As far as actual
seasoning, I do. And I used to buy like, quote, chili seasoning.
Of course.
But one day I was like, because I'm also gluten-free and your seasoning is gluten-free.
Yes, it is.
And I was like, I can't, most of these mixes have usually some potential type of gluten and things. So I'm like, I'm going to try it. So good. All right, give me another one.
Well, before we go there, so far I have entered 2 chili cooking competitions. They're small, not like hundreds of people by any means, but I've won first and second place so far.
Nice.
Chili.
And you used, yes.
So it is good. Let's see here. Trying to think some of the things that I've heard. Sprinkle it on broccoli.
Yes.
Just, little something, or on asparagus even. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what it'll do for vegetables.
Yeah, I agree.
Just little something different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, for time purposes, because I got to wrap this up, it's the one I was sharing with you before we started. I got into, because we had a little spout of cold in Texas.
Yes.
It didn't last very long.
It was so horrible.
It did not last long at all. But I'm like, I want to make beef stew. And I used the seasoning for my beef stew. The only thing I used a chicken stock as my liquid base, and then use the seasoning. Put some potatoes in there, and I did mix vegetables actually.
Okay, yeah.
In a crock pot. So good.
Yeah.
I mean, like my guys are loving the use of the steak seasoning, and just because I want to say this, for those of you. You're going to go and buy it, because clearly you could not have gotten to this point in the podcast without your belly growling, your mind racing about how much you want food. So tell them where they can go and buy it.
They can buy it at bringthetasty.com. That's the website. I can, ship it to you from there. Also have it at some local retailers. In Allen, it's at Elka's Market and Cafe. I have it at Ham's Meat Market, just off the square in McKinney.
Love that.
And then at Hirsch's Meat Market in Plano.
It's a Plano, right? Okay.
Yeah, right on Park.
That's awesome. And we'll make sure that those are in the show notes for you as well. So you can also look for that. And what I was going to round it out by saying, my own little, I think, seasoning hack with your amazing seasoning is that when I buy steaks, I coat them in the seasoning. So I rub it on, and then I vacuum seal it before I put them in the freezer.
Okay.
So that once I thaw that and I open that packaging, it's ready to be grilled. Or I have like a cast iron like griddle that I put on my gas stove. Yeah. And that's typically where I'll cook them. But it's so good. Yeah. So good. Well, I ask every guest, why do you believe it's important to cultivate thinking that matters? And while we have not spoken in depth about thinking, we have touched on, the thinking about you are creative. How do you express that? We've talked about how you had to think through, how do I get this to market? So the thinking is an important role that has to happen in our minds for the expression of the creativity that God has given us. So I'm curious, why do you believe it's important to cultivate thinking that matters?
I don't want to say the power of positive thinking. That's not really what it is. It is thinking about things in such a way that it makes us feel good about ourselves. Not saying avoiding negative self-talk, but not thinking that, there's no way I could really do that. That's a little much. It's like, I don't know. Would I really have supportive friends and family? Could be family background where you got to hear all the time how you really weren't cut out for anything. But when you begin to go, you know what? It's not going to hurt. I can give it a shot.
What if it works?
What if it works? I've been single before, and I still am now. And I've approached dating that way. You don't get a date with the woman unless you ask.
Yeah.
Just give it a shot. I've told that with, not in that same area, but with my kids. You got to try.
Right.
Just try.
That's the value of failing forward, right? I mean, I think most people don't even try because they're afraid of failure. But when we think of it from the standpoint of, okay, if I fail, I can learn. And when I learn, I fail forward. And, I mean, I, for one, am very glad that you took the step to get goodness steak seasoning in a bottle. I mean, I kid you not. I keep multiple bottles in my pantry at all times because I go through it that much. I was telling Jason, I mean, I pretty much use it every single day. I'm a big cooker, and I learned to cook like you. I learned to cook by watching. Because I have a mother and a stepmom, both of which are great cooks, but I learned by watching and then getting in there and doing, being alongside of them and learning. I absolutely love to cook, and your season is an important part of the overall success of what I provide for my guys. So I am super grateful for that. Thank you so much for being on the show. Again, bringthetasty.com. They can buy the seasoning there. Check in the show notes as well for how you can connect with Jason. And remember that you want to cultivate thinking that matters, because when you cultivate thinking that matters, you are able to take steps of action that will bring things like a seasoning that matters. And that's something that I absolutely love. Appreciate you. And we'll look forward to seeing you back here on another episode of Thinking That Matters.